Something is happening right now in the skies over Kansas that has every single meteorologist in this country watching their screens with their hearts pounding. The atmosphere tonight is not playing games. It is loaded, it is unstable, and it is about to unleash something that people in central Kansas will be talking about for the rest of their lives. We are not talking about a regular thunderstorm rolling through your backyard. We are talking about a tornado supercell that has been building strength for over an hour, rotating with a fury that has our radar screens lighting up like nothing we have seen in months. And right now, at this very moment, live storm chasers are sitting inside the hook echo of this monster, in pitch black darkness with zero visibility, waiting for something to drop from the sky that could be strong, wide, and absolutely violent. This is not a drill. This is not a weather alert you scroll past on your phone. This is the real thing unfolding in real time, and if you live anywhere near Salina, Abilene, Chapman, Holland, or any of the communities scattered along Interstate 70 in central Kansas tonight, you need to stop whatever you're doing right now and pay attention. Because the next 30 minutes could change everything. Let me paint you a picture of what this atmosphere looks like tonight. Because if you understood what meteorologists are seeing on their data screens right now, your jaw would drop. The significant tornado parameter values across central Kansas tonight are sitting at 9. 9. To put that into perspective, anything above 1 is considered favorable for tornadoes. Anything above 3 gets meteorologists leaning forward in their chairs. When you hit 9, that is a number that makes even the most experienced storm chasers pause and take a deep breath before they drive into position. The instability in the atmosphere is off the charts. The wind shear, which is the change in wind speed and direction at different altitudes that causes storms to rotate, is absolutely screaming tonight. Every single ingredient that nature needs to produce a large and violent tornado is present over central Kansas right now, and a supercell thunderstorm has been sitting in the middle of all of it, feeding off of it, growing stronger and rotating harder with every passing minute. East of Salina, this discrete supercell has been organizing for the better part of an hour. Discrete is the word that storm chasers fear and respect the most. It means this storm is isolated, not tangled up with other thunderstorms, free to tap into all of that unstable, warm, moist air that has been flowing northward from the Gulf of Mexico all day long. A discrete supercell in an environment like tonight is like a fire that suddenly finds an unlimited supply of fuel and oxygen. It does not just burn, it explodes. And the storm tonight has been doing exactly that. Strengthening, organizing, developing a clearly defined hook echo on radar that tells every trained meteorologist looking at it that there is rotation wrapping around the southern and southwestern portion of this storm with a tightness and an intensity that is genuinely alarming. Right now inside the Weatherfront app, you can see something that very few people get to witness in real time. Multiple professional storm chasers have converged on this supercell from different directions, and their live camera feeds are showing the world what it looks like to sit inside the most dangerous part of a tornadic thunderstorm. Tornado. TRX, one of the most well-known names in the storm chasing community, is positioned right now inside the Hook Echo near Country Club Road, just east of Salina. And what his camera is showing is one of the most eerie and unsettling things you will ever see from a severe weather event. There's nothing. Absolute darkness, no lightning, no visible cloud structure. Just black, silent, heavy air all around him. And experienced storm chasers will tell you that silence and darkness inside a Hook Echo is not a sign that nothing is happening. It is often the exact opposite. It means the storm is wrapping rain and debris so tightly around its circulation that everything is being pulled inward. And what is being hidden inside that darkness could very well be a tornado already on the ground. Other chasers in the area are confirming what the radar is already screaming. There are wrapping rain curtains visible from multiple vantage points around this storm. The inflow, which is the warm surface air being sucked into the base of the supercell to feed its rotation, is described as incredibly strong, roaring in from the east and southeast toward the center of the circulation. When inflow is this strong, it means the storm's engine is running at full capacity. It is consuming everything around it. And on the latest velocity radar scans from both the Topeka and Wichita radar sites, the gate-to-gate shear inside the supercell, the measurement of wind going in opposite directions within a very small area of the storm, is sitting at approximately 120 to 130 miles per hour. That number alone is enough to support a significant tornado. If a funnel were to touch down right now, it would not be a weak rope tornado spinning briefly over an empty field. It would be powerful. It would be wide. And it would be moving across a landscape that includes homes, farms, small communities, and one of the busiest interstate corridors in the state of Kansas. Tornado warnings have now been issued for Saline and Dickinson counties, and those warnings need to be taken with the highest level of seriousness tonight. The communities of Holland, Navarre, and Abilene are in the direct path of this circulation as it tracks slowly to the east and southeast. If you are in any of these communities right now, the message is simple and it is urgent. Get to your safe place immediately. Get to the lowest floor of the sturdiest structure available to you. Put as many walls between yourself and the outside world as you possibly can. Get away from every window. And if you are in a mobile home or a manufactured structure of any kind, you need to leave it right now and find a substantial building, because a tornado in this environment will not give you a second chance. But here's what makes tonight even more complicated and even more dangerous. And it is something that every person in central Kansas needs to understand right now. Behind this supercell, there's a second threat that is in some ways even more widespread and potentially more damaging than the tornado itself. A massive line of thunderstorms is charging eastward from behind the supercell, and this line has been producing observed wind gusts of 80 miles per hour across central Kansas for the last hour. Not estimated, not radar indicated, observed and measured. A wind gust of 113 miles per hour was recorded at the Salina Regional Airport, and let that number sink in for just a moment. 113 miles per hour. That is a Category 3 hurricane. That is wind strong enough to rip roofs off houses, flip semi-trucks on the highway, snap power poles in half, and turn any loose object in your yard into a projectile moving faster than most cars travel on the interstate. Saline County is now sitting at over 85% without power. Traffic cameras across the region have gone dark. Personal weather stations are reporting damage from Minneapolis, Kansas, all the way south through McPherson and beyond. The line is still moving, still intense, still hungry. McPherson County is now under a destructive severe thunderstorm warning for winds up to 100 miles per hour. 100 miles per hour of straight-line wind is not a number that gets thrown around lightly. At that speed, wind is not just inconvenient or dangerous. It is catastrophically destructive across a wide swath of territory. Unlike a tornado, which might be a quarter-mile wide on the ground, straight-line wind gusts of this magnitude can affect a corridor 15 to 20 miles wide simultaneously. Every home, every building, every vehicle, every power line, every tree in that corridor is exposed at the same moment. The sheer scale of the damage potential from an event like this is staggering, and tonight that event is currently in progress and heading southeast toward populations that may not fully appreciate what is about to hit them. And then there is the interaction that meteorologists and storm chasers have been watching with growing unease for the last 30 minutes, when a powerful line of thunderstorms catches up to a discrete rotating supercell. Something interesting and terrifying can happen. That additional wind energy from the line, all of that outflow and inflow and pressure gradient, can get funneled into the supercell's circulation and dramatically intensify its tornado potential for a brief window of 5 to 10 minutes before the supercell eventually gets absorbed into the line. We have seen this exact scenario produce some of the most violent and surprising tornadoes in recorded weather history. The EF5 that devastated a community just last year followed this exact pattern, a discrete supercell merging with an approaching line and producing a catastrophic tornado in the moments of that collision. Tonight, that scenario is playing out again, and every experienced eye watching this radar is holding their breath. The supercell near Holland and Carlton is still rotating. Velocity scans are showing wind measurements inside the Hook Echo reaching 111 miles per hour in one direction and opposing winds simultaneously. The RFD, the rear flank downdraft, which is the descending pocket of air wrapping around the back of the tornado's circulation and often the final trigger for a tornado to touch down, is surging with winds measured at 114 miles per hour. The Hook Echo itself has become extraordinary to look at on radar, swirling and tightening like a miniature hurricane sitting over the Kansas plains, barely moving, just spinning in place and intensifying. Storm chasers positioned around the storm are reporting that visibility has dropped to near zero in every direction. Jason, a chaser currently live inside the destructive severe thunderstorm warning near Holland, is experiencing what can only be described as sustained hurricane force winds for more than 5 consecutive minutes. His camera shows nothing but horizontal rain, roaring wind, and absolute chaos. This is what the communities in the direct path of this line will experience in the coming minutes. North of Emporia and south of Council Grove, a new threat is emerging. A separate area of rotation has developed and strengthened rapidly on the southern end of this line, and it has already produced at least one confirmed by both a correlation coefficient drop on radar and a debris signature, meaning the radar was actually detecting material lofted into the air by the tornado's circulation. A debris signature on radar is not a warning sign that a tornado might happen. It is radar confirmation that a tornado is already happening, already on the ground, already picking up and spinning material from the Earth's surface. And this tornado occurred with no active tornado warning in place for that area, moving through communities in the darkness of a Kansas night where people may have had no warning at all beyond their own ears and eyes. This is the detail that makes tonight's event so genuinely harrowing. The line of thunderstorms producing this historic wind damage is simultaneously spawning brief, fast-moving rain-wrapped tornadoes along its leading edge and embedded within its structure. These are what meteorologists call QLCS tornadoes, quasi-linear convective system tornadoes, and they are among the most difficult tornado types to warn for and the most dangerous for the public to survive. They develop in seconds. They are almost always completely invisible because they are wrapped in rain and darkness. They move with the full speed of the parent line, which tonight is moving at 30 to 40 miles per hour, and they touch down and lift in such rapid succession that by the time a warning can be issued and the sirens can start wailing, the tornado may have already moved through the community and lifted. Near Paxico, near Overbrook, near Carbondale, near Estridge, near Topeka's southwestern neighborhoods, unwarned tornado debris signatures have been detected on radar throughout the night, each one representing a real and dangerous twister touching Kansas soil with no official tornado warning protecting the people in its path. Topeka, a city of over 125,000 people, has spent the last hour on the edge of this battle. Rotation has developed and dissolved and redeveloped multiple times on the southwestern and southern approaches to the city. Traffic cameras on Interstate 70 near Topeka have shown wind so intense that the camera housings themselves are visibly shaking and swinging. Power flashes, those brilliant blue-white explosions that light up the sky when high-voltage power lines arc and fail, have been reported across multiple Topeka neighborhoods. Tens of thousands of residents have lost power. Storm sirens have activated. And through it all, a tight area of rotation tracked directly over portions of the city, producing what appeared on radar to be a possible brief tornado directly over a major urban area in the middle of the night when most people were asleep and unaware. In Lawrence, home of the University of Kansas and over 95,000 residents, the tornado warning covers a city where a significant rotation was closing in from the west, while students and residents were receiving emergency alerts in the early morning hours. The rotation tracked near Clinton and pushed toward the southwestern edge of the city, bringing with it not just the tornado threat, but winds strong enough to bring down trees and power lines across residential neighborhoods. Reports from Lawrence confirm sirens sounding, power, outages spreading, and the kind of sudden atmospheric chaos that makes a city feel simultaneously very large and very vulnerable. As this monstrous line of storms charges toward the Kansas City metropolitan area, the largest population center in its path tonight, the statistics of what it has already done begin to tell the full story of the night. Over 80,000 customers without power across Kansas. Confirmed wind gusts of 113 miles per hour at Salina Regional Airport. Confirmed. 111 miles per hour wind gust measured by a vehicle-mounted anemometer near Gibson. Confirmed 98 miles per hour gust at a personal weather station also near Salina. Confirmed 90 miles per hour gust in Lost Springs. Confirmed 80 miles per hour gusts in Ramona. Multiple semi-trucks reported overturned on Interstate 70. Power lines down across Saline County. Trees uprooted in Manhattan. Transformer explosions in Manhattan. Major flooding. Developing in Abilene, with standing water reported at 4 inches depth. Traffic cameras across the entire corridor from Salina to Topeka going dark one by one as infrastructure fails under the assault of extraordinary wind. Kansas City, you are next. And the line bearing down on you right now is not weakening. It has been producing severe damaging winds for over 3 hours across central Kansas, and while it may be slightly less intense than its peak near Salina, it is still carrying enough energy and enough rotation along its leading edge to produce wind gusts of 60 to 75 miles per hour across the metro area. And there remains an isolated but real tornado threat embedded in the line as it approaches from the west. The National Weather Service has issued a severe thunderstorm watch covering Kansas City that runs until 4 in the morning. And a new mesoscale discussion from the Storm Prediction Center explicitly mentions the possibility of up to 90 miles per hour wind gusts and a couple of tornadoes as the line moves through. Lee's Summit, Harrisonville, Overland Park, Olathe, and Independence all need to be ready right now. Not in 20 minutes, right now. Get loose items off your porch and patio. Bring your pets inside. Make sure your phone is charged. Know where your flashlight is. Know where your safe room is. And be ready to move there instantly if a warning is issued for your specific location. The power outage numbers will climb through the night. Utility crews across Kansas are already being mobilized, but with this level of widespread destruction across such a large geographic area, restoration is going to take time. Hours for some, possibly days for others in the hardest hit areas of Saline County, where nearly the entire county has lost power following that historic 113 mile per hour wind event. The damage to infrastructure will be assessed in the daylight. And when those assessments come in, they will tell the full story of what a historic MCS, a mesoscale convective system, can do when it is fueled by an atmosphere this unstable and this energetic. The storm chasers out on the roads tonight, every single one of them, deserve recognition for what they are doing. Tornado TRX, driving into the hook, echo in pitch black darkness. Storm chaser Jason sitting in his vehicle being battered by what can only be described as sustained hurricane force winds near Holland. Mikey Gribble positioned in the field near Newton tracking the line's southern edge. Orion Pitt documenting the supercell's structure from the south. These are not reckless thrill seekers. These are skilled, experienced professionals providing real-time ground truth that complements radar data and helps meteorologists and broadcasters give the public the most accurate and timely information possible. Their footage tonight, their position reports, their observations about wrapping rain curtains and inflow strength and visibility and rotation have all contributed to a richer and more complete understanding of a genuinely historic severe weather event. And historic is not too strong a word for what has happened tonight across central Kansas. When you measure a 113 mile per hour wind gust at an official airport weather station, you have entered the territory of historical record. When you have a significant tornado parameter of 9 covering an area the size of central Kansas, you have an atmosphere that is operating at the extreme end of its capability. When you have over 80,000 customers lose power in a single night from a non-tropical weather system, you have a damage footprint that rivals some of the most significant severe weather events in recent Kansas history. Tonight will be studied. Tonight will be referenced in future meteorology discussions. Tonight will be part of the historical record for the state of Kansas and for everyone who lived through it or watched it unfold in real time. But the night is not over, not even close. The line is pushing east toward Kansas City and beyond. Secondary rotation threats are still active south of the main line near Cottonwood Falls and the Emporia corridor. Flash flood warnings are expanding as the tremendous rainfall associated with this system soaks into already saturated ground and overwhelms drainage systems across the region. The severe thunderstorm watch extends through the pre-dawn hours, and a new severe weather outlook has already been issued for later today, Tuesday, showing an enhanced risk continuing across Kansas and the Oklahoma Panhandle. And looking ahead to Wednesday and Thursday, the Storm Prediction Center is already signaling what could be a multi-day severe weather outbreak across the Midwest, with significant tornado parameter values projected to rival or exceed what we saw tonight, covering an area that stretches from the Central Plains northward through the upper Midwest and includes major metropolitan areas from Kansas City to Chicago to Milwaukee. Tonight in Kansas was not a warning. Tonight in Kansas was the opening act. The atmosphere over the central United States is entering one of the most active and potentially dangerous severe weather patterns it has seen in years, and every single person living between the Rockies and the Appalachians needs to understand that the next several days demand their attention, their preparation, and their respect for the power of what nature is capable of producing. If you took shelter tonight when the warnings came, you did the right thing. If your power is out, stay away from downed lines and report them to your utility company. If you have damage to your property, document it safely and contact your insurance provider. If you are in Kansas City or any community still in the path of tonight's line, do not let your guard down until every warning in your county has been officially canceled and the radar shows clear. And if you woke up tomorrow thinking that severe weather season has peaked and things will calm down, look at the Wednesday outlook, look at the Thursday forecast, and make sure your weather radio is charged, your alerts are turned on, and your family knows exactly what to do when the sirens sound again. Because in Kansas, in the spring and summer of 2026, the sirens are not done sounding. The atmosphere has made that very clear tonight, and it is not finished making its point.